Hi, it's Rob from the Bush and Boltgun. Today I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to paint the Howling Griffons chapter icon on Space Marine shoulder pads. So first up, we're going to be using some Vallejo Black, but any black will do. You can see on the shoulder pad there, I've drawn roughly the icon in pencil. So when you're drawing the icon, you want to be looking at where the claws go, how the arms fit together, how they join onto the body, and where the areas that you can afford to be a bit more casual, sort of like the torso where it bulges out on the chest, and some areas of the legs where they're quite wide. So draw on the arms as sticks first, so you'll get like the hand, and then the stick of the arm going to where the body is. So I'm then going to do the second arm. This is using an Army Painter Wargamer character brush to paint this on. So you've got the rough angle of the two arms there. I'm going to look at where the head comes up here and around to the beak. So we want to try and get the head shape on there. Now you'll see when I'm painting the head, because the griffin has got its mouth open, its tongue poking out a little bit. When I first start painting this on, it doesn't look too hot because I managed to make the jaw too narrow, but I still paint the tongue on where it should be, and then paint the jaw on slightly lower down, so it does make a bit, it looks like a bit of a mess when you're first doing it, but we do touch that up with the next layer. So now you're going to put on the rough shape of the kind of spine of the griffin at the top of the neck here, and put on the little spikes that are coming out the back there. Then you've got the bulge of the chest at the front. So you can see that I break it down into rough areas, and you can work from those rough areas and fill in some details as it goes on. So that area there where that big splodge is going to be where the lower jaw and part of the tongue goes. So I'm going to put on the tongue going into that big splodge, and then we're going to get rid of part of that big splodge using some yellow in a moment. But if you look at how I'm doing this, it's breaking it down into sections, so you're doing one straight line to get the outlines put in. So here we're doing the wing coming out of its back, so I'm doing the outline for that first, doing the one line going almost straight up that joins it onto the body, and then we're going to be putting on the spikes and filling this out just a little bit. I call them spikes, the feathers or what have you. And you've got this sort of like the wing bulging out a bit as it comes down, going around that bullet hole in the shoulder there. We're just going to fill in that section. So you've got the rough outline of the wing there, and then all you're going to do is do some lines for the feathers. Now you can get these roughly in, or you can put them in spot on straight away. I tend to put things in roughly and then tidy them up afterwards. Because if you look at the chapter badge itself, I think this feather here and the one next to it are slightly in the wrong places, so I touch them up with the yellow and then go back and do them over in the black a little bit later on. You can see one of those feathers is way too thick there. So now we're going to come down and do a little bit more on the body. The head, putting those spikes on there. Now we're going to trace the rough outline of one of the legs coming down here. As I say, this is all being done with the Army Painter Wargamer character brush. I'm just dragging the paintbrush from the point at all times. If you do it side to side, it'll splay the brush, you won't get a fine line. So you're just dragging it from the point every single time that you're doing it. Sometimes on curves it's a little bit harder to do unless you rotate the miniature and do a little section at a time. You're working on the foot and the claws of the foot. then up onto the lower leg. See, when I'm doing these lines here, I'm just still dragging it away from the point, but doing very small kind of dots just to work out where that line's going and how it's going to look. Then you can start filling it out once you've got the basic shape to it. As I say, it is all about breaking down the image or the pattern that you're putting down, breaking it down into sections, so you're working on specific sections rather than trying to paint the whole thing on in one go. You want to be doing like an upper leg, then work on a lower leg. It all depends on the general shape of it, how you want to be working on it and which parts you want to do first, whatever takes your fancy really. But it's definitely all to do with breaking it down and doing it into manageable sections. If you did try and do it with far fewer strokes and do it a lot quicker, you're probably going to end up with the brush splaying, and that'll cause the paint to go on quite wide. You won't have the thin lines. And that's where a lot of it goes wrong, is when the brush splays. It makes a mess of the line and it does dishearten you. So if you take your time on it, doing smaller brush strokes, break it into sections and always drag the brush away from the point, you'll find the paint is a lot easier to manage and it's a lot easier to get those patterns down. You can see I'm quite hesitant when I'm painting this because I've got a picture of the Howling Griffons chapter badge from one of the Badab war books, the Imperial Armour books from Forge World. And I'm pausing every now and again just to check that I'm doing it in the right direction, to make sure I've got the patterns right. After painting this, I don't envy anyone who's doing a Howling Griffons army. So if you have been doing a Howling Griffons army, or you're painting a lot of the symbols on freehand on different tanks and miniatures, then hats off to you, because it drives me absolutely crackers. So here we're working on the claw on one of the arms. And once you put them on, you can fill out that upper arm or work on the other claw. So we're going straight onto the other claw here. So now we're going to go onto Citadel Averland Sunset. We're just going to touch up some parts of that. So as I said earlier, where the jaw is, we're just going to get rid of a bit underneath the tongue for the lower jaw. And then underneath there, we're going to get rid of a little bit of that extra chest which we put on. We're also going to tidy up those feathers on the back wing there. Again, what you can do is, if you cock this up and you go over one that you really wanted to keep, or you make an error on it, just wait until it's dried, go over it again with the previous colour. I'm going on to add a little bit of black here. Like so.
Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Also, think about subscribing to some of our other social media linked below. Thanks very much.